Lokoja has already set a college of medicine and has gotten the approval of the National University Commission to admit medical students in preparation for the takeoff of the teaching hospital, which will be required for clinical training of medical students of the proposed teaching hospital, the university. The facilities of the Federal Medical Center in Lokoja will be used for the takeoff of the proposed teaching hospital in the interim. The essence of this bill, therefore, is to seek for the upgrade of the Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, as well as provide a legal framework for the operation of the proposed teaching hospital for clinical training of medical students of College of Medicine, Federal University, Lokoja. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is expected that the teaching hospital, when established, will not only serve as a training ground for medical students, but also offer specialized tertiary healthcare services to patients within the state and indeed other patients referred to it from other parts of the country. Similarly, bearing in mind that the few medical teaching hospitals and other tertiary health centers within the North Central zones are already overwhelmed by referrals for tertiary healthcare services, the proposed teaching hospital, when established, will therefore complement specialized tertiary healthcare services offered by the new teaching hospitals within the North Central geopolitical zone, such as the Jos University Hospital and the Lorry Teaching Hospital as well. Mr. President, just in addition, out of over 80,000 registered medical practitioners in Nigeria, only about 40,000 of these are actually practicing in Nigeria. Quite a number of them are already out of the nation. By World Health Organization standard, Mr. President, 1 doctor to 100 patients is required. But in Nigeria, it is 1 doctor to 4,000 patients. This bill should therefore be seen as a major legislative response to our ongoing efforts to improve medical training, expand existing medical facilities, and generally improve on healthcare service delivery across the 3 levels of public health delivery in Nigeria against the background of the COVID pandemic. It is on the basis of the foregoing, Mr. President, that I urge my distinguished colleagues to support the passage of this bill, but very impactful bill. I wish to state that in compliance with Order 76.3 of the Senate Standing Orders 22 as amended, this bill, when passed, will have no immediate financial burden on the federal government treasury, as the facilities for the takeoff of the proposed teaching hospital, Mr. President, is the Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, that will be upgraded to the status of the teaching hospital. Mr. President, I so submit.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, by virtue of the order of the Senate President and by reason of proximity to the mover of this important bill, I stand to second the establishment of the Federal University Teaching Hospital in Lokoja. The reasons given by my friend and brother, distinguished Senator Smart Adeyemi, former comrade, are cogent enough to support the passage of this bill for second reading, and I therefore do so in compliance with your order. Thank you.
I thought you raised your hand. Distinguished Senator Magataka Dawamako.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I also stand up to lend my weight to this bill heavily moved by Smart Adeyemi, which needs no further debate. Once I say university, work of teaching university, just like I'm putting a part of it to make it a full-fledged university. So I do second the bill, Mr. President. Thank you.
The former Deputy Minority Leader, very distinguished Senator Emmanuel Boacha, Taraba South, APC.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Boacha Emmanuel. Behold, all things are past, I rise in support of my distinguished colleague whom we have tried to bring back to the struggle. To support this bill, Mr. President, because Nigeria, as the most populous black nation, we need to prioritize health sector. Every state, if Mr. President, I would suggest, deserve a teaching hospital because of our population and because of the significance associated with healthcare. Health is wealth, and if we are able to tackle the health sector, all other things will fall in place. On this, Mr. President, I second this bill and call on my colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Those in favor that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the university teaching hospitals, reconstruction of board, etc. Act Cap U15, Laws of the Federal Federation of Nigeria 2004 to establish the Federal University Lokoja Teaching Hospital and for other connected matters therein, 2022, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the university teaching hospitals, reconstitution of boards, etc. Act Cap U15, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to establish the Federal University Lokoja Teaching Hospital and for other connected matters therein, 2022, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Health for further legislative action to report by William Fox, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal High Court Act Amendment Bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 9th June 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Mokai Adetukumbo Abiru to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Adetukumbo Abiru.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. It is a great pleasure to lead the debate on the Federal High Court Act Amendment Bill 2021 as the lead sponsor, and my co-sponsor is my dear colleague, Senator Michael Opeyemi Family of Ekiti Central. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my pleasure and delight to lead the debate on the general principles on the Senate Bill 745, which is a bill for an act to amend the Federal High Court Act Cap F12 NFN 2004. The bill seeks to amend the Federal High Court Act to cure the shortcomings inherent in the Principal Act, to make provisions for the regulation of the award of prejudgment interest to ensure the attainment of substantial justice, particularly in relation to claims bordering on commercial transactions. You will recall that the bill was read for the first time in the annual chamber on Wednesday, 9th of June 2021. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in commercial claims, particularly the ones for recovery of debts, the claimant should ordinarily be entitled to prejudgment interest on the principal sum should he succeed in his claim. However, entitlement to such a prejudgment interest is not as easy as it seems, at least as far as the numerous decisions of our appellate courts are concerned. Presently, in Nigeria, there is no statutory law which regulates the award of prejudgment interest. Nigerian courts, up till date, still have recourse to the English common law practice as a guide in the award of prejudgment interest. The common law practice is to the effect that such interest can only be claimed as of right where it is contemplated by the agreement of the parties, or under a mercantile custom, or under a principle of equity. This is no doubt a very Herculean task for the claimants to overcome, as great number of decided cases in Nigeria have shown. Moreover, the same common law principle equally constitutes an impediment to the right of the banker to continue to charge interest, whether at an agreed rate or prevailing rate, on a credit facility after the expiry of the facility date. There are decided cases that have also been cited along. The shortcomings in the law. As evidenced by the majority of decided cases in Nigeria, in most of the cases where the claims of the claimants on the principal debts were successful, their claims on prejudgment interest were denied. Unfortunately, the claims did not pass the common law test. No doubt, real economic value will have been lost on those judgment sums by the time of judgment, given the high inflationary trend that permeates our economy. There are also other decisions of both the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal that were decided in that line, and some of them are cited in this particular debate. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is disturbing that we will still be adhering to this particular common law principle tenaciously despite its glaring shortcomings in the modern day administration of justice in relation to claims relating to commercial transactions. Even in England, the principle has since been abrogated since 1934 with the promulgation of Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1934. The law in England as of today is that the English court has the discretion to award a prejudgment interest on the judgment sum at any rate as it deems fit, regardless that there is no such claim endorsed on the statement of claim or that there is absence of evidence or proof of same. Nigeria ought to follow suit. Proposed amendment. The bill simply proposes that Section 11 of the Federal High Court Act be amended by substituting the existing Section 11 with a new Section 11 to remedy the deficiency in the law, particularly by proposing a new subsection that states thus: in any proceeding for the recovery of any debt or damages, if it thinks fit, order that there shall be included in the sum for which judgment is given, interest at such rate as it thinks fit on the whole or any part of the debt or damages for the whole or any part of the period between the date when the cause of action arose and the date of the judgment, provided that nothing in this section shall apply in relation to any debt upon which interest is payable as of right, whether by virtue of any agreement or otherwise. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, a legislation and legal framework is desirable to deal with the glaring shortcomings in the law and practice on award of prejudgment interest, and this is the reason I am coming up with this bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I urge you all to support this bill so that in commercial claims, particularly the ones for recovery of debts, the claimant will ordinarily be entitled to prejudgment interest on the principal debt sum should he succeed in his claim, and to ensure the attainment of substantial justice. And I hereby move that the bill be read a second time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Michael Opiani-Bamidele.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Michael Opiani-Bamidele. I represent the Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm standing off to also very strongly call on our distinguished colleagues to support this bill being read for the second term. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the very essence of this bill, in a nutshell, is to fill an obvious lacuna in our law. Our courts, including the Federal High Court, have continued to hold that there is no legal basis for them to take decisions that will help preserve the real economic value of judgment debts, because there is no legal provision that empowers them to award prejudgment interest. Nigeria is not a strange peculiarity. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Nigeria is not a strange peculiarity. That has been the case in several common law countries around the world, including the United Kingdom. But by virtue of a 1934 legislation, the United Kingdom took care of this situation by conceding to judges the discretion to be able to award prejudgment interest. And this exactly is what this bill is seeking to achieve for Nigeria, so that we are not left behind by the rest of both the developed and the developing common law countries, and be able to provide, a basis for our judges to be able to exercise an unfettered discretion based on conscious and very clear legal provision. So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I just would like to urge all of us to support this bill and ensure that we are able to strengthen the hands of our judges and our courts to be able to award and preserve prejudgment interest, which is what we speak to the real economic value. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadija.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, the Governor of East. In rising to lend my support to this bill, Mr. President, I just looking at it from the Nigerian context, commercial litigations are usually very complex in nature, and you have a situation sometimes where they go on for years, from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. And you have a peculiar situation in Nigeria, Mr. President. If you sue somebody for a fixed amount, and it takes 5 years to decide, with the inflation rate in double digits, Mr. President, by the time you calculate the legal fees you have paid and the logistics, when you finally get that amount, you probably end up in the negative. So I think, Mr. President, this amendment to resolve this issue of prejudgment interest is very, very timely, and without missing words, I rise to also support and urge my colleagues to support this bill. Thank you very much.
Those who know that this bill will now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal High Court Act, Cap F134, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for other related matters therein, 2022, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Federal High Court Act, Cap F134, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for other matters there in 2022, second reading taken. And the bill is referred to the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters for further legislative action to report back within 4 weeks. And Senator Bala Ibn Allah, you are a member of that committee. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I would like to move a motion first by invoking our Order 1B to bring back into consideration the item on our agenda, on our order paper that we left earlier, which was the presentation of the report of the Committee on Constitutional Review. But before I do that, I would like to come under over 12 for this Senate to permit and admit the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Her Excellency Haji Aisha Buhari, the Minister of Women Affairs, and their entourage into this chamber. I so move.
Minority Leader. You second the motion, move.
Mr. President.
Okay, Leader. Yes. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion move by the leader that we suspend our rules to enable the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to enter into the chamber as a distinguished visitor to our say aye. Those against say nay. Leader of the Senate.
Guys, order. Smart, you are disturbing people. It's not bad.
Where is the Sergeant at Arms?
Well, today the Senate is receiving a special guest